Me and Kev did a half-hour interview the other day.
And you're going to take it.
Well, you've got all the four of us on that now.
You are?
Got the four of us on that now.
5.
5 of us.
I'm on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is it doing it now?
Yeah, it's recording now. Yeah, it's recording. Yeah. You're on telly.
We all on telly.
We're all on telly.
It was a way
So we're here today with the legends of Neath Harriers that have bothered to turn up. and if we introduce ourselves, please, left to right.
I'm Kev Lewis.
I'm Dickie Bowen. I'm supposed to be Richard Bowen, but everybody knows me as Dickie.
And I'm Billy Hancock.
I don't know where. I'm Jeff Rees.
He's the third man.
And I'm Guy Richards.
And he's roped us into all this.
Yeah, because that's the type of guy I am. But we're here today to just to remember a few things, or well, not to remember, but to record a little bit of history about the Harriers, because Billy is the founding member, and Billy's going to tell us how the Harriers started. Billy.
Well, it really started, as it seems, back in the 70s. And what really happened, half a dozen of us actually broke away from Neath Athletic. Then naturally we were doing cross-country road running and everything like that. But of course, we never had a club and nowhere to change or anything. So when we started first, we started 6 of us in my bathroom. And we used to train and then go back and take turns in the bath, and that was it. Well, then we went then...
When you say, sorry, Billy, when you say you were in the bathroom,
Bathroom.
Did you start the club in the bathroom? Did you all sit?
No.
Did you sit in the toilet? Or when did you actually gather the idea?
They were your shower facilities.
We actually started that in my house, actually. My wife was the secretary and treasurer at first. Then she carried on right through.
Where was that?
Treasurer? In Pantareal.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Which Pantareal?
In the Melon.
Ah, right, okay.
We then went to the Knoll School. And we changed in the Knoll School and done our training around Tonga and Abdillis and everything like that. And at that time we had a young man there called Alan Jones, which was handicapped. And his mother and father was well-to-do people in Neath. And he used to be there and he used to hand us our towels and stuff like that. And one day we turned around and we said to ourselves, surely there must be something we can do for Alan. So what we done, we took turns of actually pushing him on a rowing boat. And we'd done that for months. Well,
so you'd be running with him in a rowing boat, yeah?
Yeah.
You'd be in a rowing boat, you'd be running around Tonga and Abdillis.
We'd push him.
Yeah.
And fair play to him, he was dedicated the whole time that he was there. And then I can remember the first venture that he had to run. And that was from the Knoll School to the, just past the Neath Neath Rugby field. And that's how he actually started running. Well, you know, if we carry on with the likes of Alan, we'll be here all night, right? But we formed a team and we used to go out running all in the same car because we couldn't afford to go any other way. We had great success. When we couldn't make a team, we used to have Jimmy O'Brien from Batalbert to join us and make the team up. Well, one of our features we always like to go was to the North Garden.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, We used to go to the Oscar, and that was amazing.
Was that a midnight running?
Yeah,
It was running midnight when you were doing it, wasn't it?
But
It was running midnight when you were doing it?
yeah,
Yeah, because it...
Yes, runner as well.
yeah, all the top boys, Gordon Perry, Ibison, Sando, all those used to be there. And it was amazing that it was running in the main street. And everybody living in them houses used to save their ashes in case of frost and snow. And they'd scatter the was in there.
That's a good guy, I mean.
And that's how it was actually run. But of course, on one or two occasions, we got stranded and couldn't get back. One night we had to stay in the car all night. Another time then, we got back as far as Seven Sisters, where John lived, and stayed at John's. Well,
Can you name some of the other founder members?
yeah, Alan Jones, Malcolm Biggs, Hayden Griffiths, and there was I can't remember his name now. His nickname was Donald Duck.
Was that Guy Jones?
Oh, Di Jones! Yeah, Di Jones. Ginger.
And his children, and they really weird, they weird.
He used to run like a duck.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
He went on and joined Neath Harriers.
Yeah.
And he was the track manager.
So, it used to be a laugh every time that he was out with us. And also, there was a farmer from Bentley, where, talk about etiquette 1 minute, his shorts used to come down. You know that you see people walking around the streets now with things over there. Well, that was the size of his shorts.
That sounds like the old army shorts.
It was. I tell you what, he was the laugh. But then, we used to go to Carmarthen, Pembrey, Swansea, all around where we could afford to run as that little small team that we had.
I say we should thank Billy for
Brilliant.
for his talk about the
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
So there's a big gap then, isn't there? Because Dickie, you were the next one to join in around 1980, was it? Ish?
About 1983. How do I follow that?
You
Now
can't.
tell
No,
me
you
how
can't.
do I follow
Yeah, you
that?
can't.
No way. I played squash.
Next.
I played squash, okay, for 15, 17 years before I joined Neath Harriers. But then about, I don't know, 37, 38, I started doing a bit of running. I used to do a lot of swimming as well. And then, okay, I started running with Wayne Moore and Reg Sullivan. And unfortunately, Reg had passed away now. And we decided then, okay, to do the London Marathon. And we joined Neath Harriers round about 1980.
Was Reg Sullivan the lifeguard in the BP?
You are?
Was he the lifeguard in BP? Reg Sullivan?
No, in the David Road paths.
Oh, yeah.
David
Oh,
Road.
yes.
David Road paths.
Yeah,
David Road
sorry,
paths.
it's gone, correct.
So we joined Neath Harriers and we started training with Neath Harriers up in Landasi Club up there, right? And we trained up there. We had fabulous sessions, brilliant, up around the circuit, the K up hill and around, and brilliant. It was fabulous up there. And then the track opened up. Well, then, okay, a lot of the members of the Neath Harriers didn't want to come down to the track. They wanted to stay up in Landasi. So we had an extraordinary AGM, can you remember?
Yeah, we did.
Within the club, right? So you can just imagine what was going on. Some of them wanted to stay up there, some of them wanted to come down here. Well, unfortunately, all of us didn't come down. I think it was Di Triggs and Bill...
Pritchard.
Yeah, Bill Pritchard.
Bill Pritchard and... Okay, Neath Harriers then, it seemed to flourish. We had the track, and we were training on the track every Tuesday and really working hard. And then, okay, we had Di the Barber coaching us, And then the training sessions that he was organising was second to none. And
They were quite structured, weren't they?
yeah, every Tuesday he'd have a proper structured schedule laid down, okay, for everybody to do. And then just the club just flourished then, and it went from say, I don't know, not zero, but then right up, okay, and Neath Harriers then, right, were a force to be mentioned, okay, right through Wales. Yeah. And everybody started to recognise Neath Harriers as a real, proper athletics running club. And, okay, from there, okay, a lot of the boys in the club qualified to run for Wales, myself included, and it was all down to the structure that Di Barber had set up within the club.
So what about yourself, Kev? And what about your...
He is a traitor. He went to Swansea.
That's another
Traitor. It's written on his chest. Traitor.
Well, I started off with Gleneath joggers, believe it or not. Arthur Phillips was the kind of founder member up there. It was through Steve Jones that I got involved in Gleneath joggers. We met down in Gorsayn and I was doing a 10k down there, and he said, "Oh, when you come along and join." And to be honest, there wasn't any kind of team spirit or training or anything really.
No structure at all.
There was no structure whatsoever really. And I was getting quite ambitious as well. I was going to races and I was, trying my hardest to kind of get the best position I could, And then Neath Harriers came kind of up in a conversation. So I rang up John Davis, had a conversation with him, and he said, "Yeah, we meet up in Llandarcy." So Steve Jones now was still in Gleneath joggers, and I was a bit kind of concerned about ringing him up and telling him I was going to leave Gleneath joggers and join Neath Harriers. So I rang him up and he said, "Oh, don't worry, Kev, I'm coming with you." So we both kind of joined Neath Harriers around about the same time, really. But going back to what the guys have said already, we did start up in Llandarcy, but quickly moved to Codurba, where the track was obviously built, and the training was second to none. It was very structured. And in the early days, we would have 50, 60 runners on the track, and we'd have 4 different groups. You'd have an A group, a B group, C group, and a D group, and you would fall into the category and kind of run along with that particular group. And quite often, people used to turn up and watch us on the track and go, "Yeah, that's easy," and then go into the A group and quite quickly find themselves in the D group, because they couldn't kind of keep up with the guys because they were so fit. And I can always remember one time we ran the Swansea 10k, and we were on the start line, and we were so confident with each other because we knew our strengths with regards to the speed we were going to run the race, that we kind of have a conversation, say, "Well, what are you looking for today?" "Oh, 33, yeah, I'll do a 33 today. Yeah, I'm looking for 33. And you probably have about half a dozen, possibly 8 runners, very similar speed. And we would start off, and we'd be like a black cloud, and no word of a lie, we would be running down Oystermouth Road, and we would suck in runners, and we kind of encircle a runner from a different club and spit them out the back end, and just continuously do that all the way along down to Oystermouth Road, where you turned and then came back to the finish. And quite often we would get the time that we were looking for as well, because the training that we were doing was so structured that we knew that what we were looking for,
Can I just say one thing relating to what Kevin said, okay, about the black cloud? I remember the Tonna 10 one year, and about 6 of us set off, and the 6 of us stayed all together, and exactly like Kevin said, we just went around runners like that, moved away, other runners, and moved away, and we just blew them away. And that's how good, okay, the club was at that time. And we did, and it was a good club, a real good club.
It was just the confidence you had, in your fellow runners.
Yeah.
Because you knew that they could run just as fast as you, and you also took it in turns as well. so you'd have 6 runners, and one you would lead out, but then when you got a little bit tired, somebody else would come back and then carry you on and continue that, you know, and I think that's what gave you the impetus then to go further and take these runners on, like, you know, they were on their own, and unfortunately they got the black cloud, you know.
I like that. I like that.
So Jeff, you joined in 1992?
I joined in 1992 from Port Talbot Harriers. But I was also in the Territorial Army at the time, and I started running through the Territorial Army.
Terriers.
And that got me hooked on marathon running. My first marathon was in 1983, and I run most of that marathon with a Neath Harrier, Dickie Bowen. But then I went from becoming an average club runner to getting to be a better club runner.
Yeah.
And I wanted to improve.
Class runner, Jeff.
I wanted to improve, so I wanted to join a good club. I wanted to leave Port Talbot and join Neath. So I couldn't join Neath until 1992. When I did join Neath, it was at the good time, it was the good years. Cordova was up and running, Di the Barber was the coach. We had lots of other coaches. Steve Jones was the coach.
Yeah.
Brian Blanford.
Brian Blanford. But I joined at the golden years, where Neath was really successful. Anything we entered, if it was the 5k championships, the 10 kilometre championships, the 10-mile championships, the half marathon, the cross countries, we were successful in them all. I think one of my best achievements was going out to Belfast with Dave Oak and Will Bamsey to run the Belfast Marathon 1995. Dave Oak organised the flights over, the accommodation and everything, and sad to say Dave Oak has passed away and Will is gone. So I'm the only one out of that trio that is still alive. And I was lucky enough to win the British Championships that day when we was out in Belfast. So we should have won the team, but for some reason they didn't put a team event in. But if they had put a team event in, us three would have been the British champions in team-wise. But yeah, Neath Harriers has meant a lot to me.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to do now?
Yeah.
So my name is David Richards. Guy Richards, and so I joined in around 91-ish when I moved from Swansea to Neath. And hometown boy, I was born in Neath, family's all from Neath, so why not become Neath Harrier? Yes, but I spent about 10 years running for Neath, but in the main my sport was triathlon and duathlon and stuff. But I did have relatively few successful races. I was second in the North Scotland, previously mentioned. I won the Neath Half, and I probably won 10 to 15 races during that time. I won a stage in the castles, but I wasn't running Neath, I was running TAs. I think
You run for Neath.
Yeah,
I ran for Neath in the castles, but at that particular day I was running for the TAs.
I'd run for Neath on a Saturday, TAs on a Sunday. I'd make it a full weekend.
I can remember you just talked about the castles earlier on, and it does bring back really fond memories. You know, as I said earlier on, we could spend the whole evening just talking about the castles because they're so funny. You know, yes, we run really hard, but we also have a good time when we're up there as well. And we used to stay in this hotel just outside Carnarvon. I think it was called the Marine Hotel. Correct. And it was run by Mr. and Mrs. Roberts, and they were ancient when we started going up there. But they always used to give us a good welcome and they used to look after us. I can remember us all going down to the bar of an evening. We got there on a Friday night, drove straight from work in the minibus, got to the bar, and Phil Bamsey, we mentioned Phil Bamsey earlier on, God rest his soul, lovely chap. He ordered a pint of beer, and Mr. Roberts poured a pint of beer, give it to him, and Phil said, oh, that's not much of a head on there. And Mr. Roberts took it back off him and did that with his finger and made a head and then give it back to Phil and said, there you go, that's the That's the type of things that used to happen, like, you know.
Remember the dumb waiter having breakfast?
Toast.
Remember the dumb waiter up and down? You know, in the hotel, the breakfast room was upstairs, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the kitchen was downstairs. So we go to the thing, go like that, and then he jumped down, or something like that, and the dumb waiter would come, it's like 42 hours on it, they're going, you can't remember the dumb waiter, can you? Yes,
Actually, you should, right? Because I should remember the Richards now, right? Had a Tupperware container underneath the table. And
for the pasta, is it? Chicken and pasta?
No, it was empty. It was empty. Mr. Roberts put the toast on the table. He'd empty it into his Tupperware container.
Can we have more toast?
Mr. Roberts would turn around and he'd go, can we have some more toast? 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 Have you had the toast?
No, we don't.
That's happened about 5 or 6 times. And then he realised what was there.
Loaf of bread in his Tupperware.
Oh, we had loads of bread there.
Have lunch.
Yeah, it was that.
You ordered get up some antics.
Oh,
Yeah.
Happy New Year!
Hey! Neath Harriers!
Harriers!
Have we got a song?
And Sweet Caroline.
I got a Welsh one. I got a Welsh one. I got a Welsh one for him. In bob fi'n sy'n ffarlo, dan a ffordd a fi. Tyrd a iesu bod o'n fi a nain as nes. Tli o Duw y Satan sydd yn roedd
It's the Jubilee song, apparently.
Mae gan blodau nawr yn yr arel. Hey, don't put that on it, for God's sake.
Yeah.
No.
That is that.